Hope Channel, changing lives.
Good evening and welcome to the maiden edition of the Law Chamber, where legal issues are discussed from a Christian perspective. We'll try as much as possible not to be theoretical. We'll try as much as possible to be practical so that you understand and the day-to-day activities that has something to do with law, you better appreciate it and apply it in your life. So, as I said, the Law Chamber, this is the first edition, yay! So you are welcome, and thank you for joining us. Every Thursday, 6:30 p.m. on Hope Channel, your preferred Christian channel, or all of Hope Channel's social media handles. You can join us there. Today, our topic is quite simple, your right, the law. So what are your rights and what are the laws governing these rights? So with me to do justice, I know it's a cliche, but I'll still use it. With me to do justice to this topic are two very, very important people. One is my senior most lawyer. He is a lawyer, he's a notary public, he's a consultant. He has his own firm, Pentel and Co. If you are someone who really listens to legal issues and follow legal issues on TV, on radio, this gentleman I'm going to introduce to you, you will have seen him somewhere. So please help me welcome Lawyer Kweku Yamwa Pentel, Senior.
Thank you.
Senior, you're welcome.
I'm very welcome.
You're very welcome. How have you been?
Cool.
And the family?
Everybody.
And your journey here?
Smooth. Very smooth.
Welcome, Senior.
Thank you very much.
So, we are going to speak English mainly, but we'll also try as much as possible to use the local language so that those who have issues with Chi and English, they will also follow us. Inti kakra, ebeka Chi kakra, ni akabrofo kakra. But the important is by the time you be a program winner, we are hoping that you will have learned one or two things that will help you in your daily life when it comes to legal issues. So I said there were two people with me, right? Two. I've welcomed the gentleman, my senior. So let me welcome the lady. She is the manager, programs manager for World of Ghana, Women in Law and Development in Africa, Ghana. She is a human rights activist. She is a gender activist. But our lady is in the person of Miss Lois Edruamoa Ado. Lois, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Hey. Human rights, yeah. And you are welcome. And I'm hoping, sir, by the time you are done, you help us with the practical aspects. I know that you go to these regions.
Yeah.
Let's start with, when we talk about human rights, Lois, what is it? What is human rights?
So, for me to be able to make it easy for everybody to appreciate human rights, I will begin with rights, human, then we go to human right and make it easy. So when we talk about human beings, we are talking about me and you, you know. It's about, people who are, born man and woman, and then undertaking the activities on earth, So we are looking at that. Then when we look at rights, we are talking about a privilege, an entitlement, something that belongs to you, Immediately you were born on it, it was for you. And once you're a human being, you have it. So that makes it human rights. Once you are born a human being, you are entitled to certain privileges, opportunities, entitlements. So that is what sets the beginning for this discussion. So to make it finalized, we say human rights are the international standards that guides the regulation of activities on it.
Senior. That's English. Now I'm already scared. Senior, let's break it down. what are human rights in a legal perspective, and can you give us some examples via the law?
Yeah, legal rights, like you said, we typically like to say fundamental human rights. Like she said, we call them fundamental human rights because they are rights that accrue to us by reason of the fact that we are God's creation. In other words, they are inalienable in the sense that it doesn't take somebody to confer it on you. It comes to you because you're a human being, and everybody's entitled to it, whether the person likes you or doesn't like you. So at the end of the day, what we call human rights, we sometimes say inalienable rights. Inalienable, like I've said, because nobody really conferred it. Indeed, and in fact, because we all recognize it is universal to all races, to everywhere that people find themselves. In the course of time, these things have been codified. In other words, they have been put in books of law from country to country for the avoidance of that, for people to be able to recognize what even we call inalienable. The right to life, for instance, is a right. Nobody can take it away from you. We've got the right to freedom of speech, the right to freedom of expression of opinion, the right to freedom of religion. We've got all kinds of freedoms, and all of these, we consider them as very fundamental, very basic to every society of human beings. And these things, from country to country, they are in some bill, some document. In Ghana, it's in our constitution. In the UK, we got they call the Magna Carta, and so forth and so on. But they are inalienable because even at the time that these things have not been codified, it was generally recognized that people are entitled to them. It's only by progression in society and time that these things have now been put down in writing just for the avoidance of doubt. But even if you find yourself in any situation, none of these rights can be trampled upon or can be taken away without a clear provision in the law that also provides the circumstances under which some of these rights could be suspended or could be frozen, if I may put it that way. So we've got the same Bill of Rights that determines your freedom of speech. Will also determine the circumstance under which, for instance, the state can place limitations or restraints. For instance, we even have right to demonstrate, right to go on a public demonstration. But now that is now encumbered, you know what I'm saying,
yes,
with legislation that provides, an application for a permit and the control by the police and so forth and so on. So now even you have a right to, for instance, go on demonstration, you can also violate the law. In other words, you can be in trouble if you don't follow the procedure the law has provided. I've told you the right to freedom of speech. The fact that you've got a right to freedom of speech does not mean you can speak anyhow. There are also other laws in place. So like, I wouldn't know how to put it, but it's like we've got, we capture all of this in one phrase. We say that your freedom begins where someone's nose, and your freedom ends where someone's nose begins. So what it means is that the right to do, even throw my hands about, anyhow I want it, can only go as far as where your nose is. Because once I cross that path, I may be infringing also. You also have the same right to
not to be hurt.
Yeah, not to be hurt, not to be touched,
yes,
not to be whatever.
Yes.
So if I go beyond that point, I may be doing one or more things. First and foremost, I may be infringing upon your own civil rights. Alternatively, I may also be committing a criminal offense of assault or battery, and so forth and so on. So rights are balanced. Rights are in society to ensure that the society is orderly, that people can move about in a civil and organized manner. But at the same time, there are laws that are also in place to ensure that nobody really infringes upon, whether government, whether an individual, or whether an organization. So that's how society is governed everywhere in the world.
Okay. So now we've looked at some of the laws. Let's look at some of the rights. Now let's look at some of the laws that govern these rights. Senior talked about the Constitution.
Yeah.
Are there any other laws?
Yeah. You know, almost all the laws gives an opportunity for, almost all the laws we have in Ghana gives an opportunity for citizens to exercise their rights. Just that there are some that are more comprehensive. So, for instance, we begin with the Constitution being our mother law that has a whole chapter that talks about a fundamental human right, which that's chapter 5. But beyond that, we have the Criminal Offences Act, which spells out offences that when you perpetrate against another person, you are inhibiting on the person's rights, and you could be taken on, you could be persecuted for committing those offenses. So, the Criminal Offence Act also tries to give out certain punishment when you try to infringe upon people's rights, and that we have, criminal offenses like kidnapping, which looks at issues on liberty, the rights are in, but when you infringe upon others, it becomes an offense. Yes. So the Criminal Offence is also another. We also have the Domestic Violence Act, which is very specific to threats to harm and then causing harm. So it expounds on it within the family unit that somebody being with you at home doesn't give you the right to perpetrate abuse or harm that person. So it's also another legal framework that seeks to advance the rights of people within the family unit. We also have the Ghana AIDS Commission Act, which seeks to protect the rights of people living with HIV/AIDS, so that you shouldn't use that to stigmatize and discriminate against them. We have the Children's Act, which tries to protect children from some infringements on their rights. We also have the Human Trafficking Act. So, we can go on and on depending on the nature of rights we are looking at. But for the fundamental human rights, these are the basic laws that we have in Ghana that seeks to advance the rights of people.
You see, when I hear these senior, I'm like, we have the laws. And one of my senior was like, in Ghana and the whole Africa, he will even give Ghana as one of the countries that have all the laws. You're lost in a dorsal. Right to life, right to property, right to have a family, right from discrimination, rights, so that you're not discriminated, right to work, right to a dorsal. But now let's be practical.
Yeah.
You tell me I have the right to liberty, right? Then I'm at home. Let's take the typical example, senior. I'm at home and then the police just barge in. You are under arrest. What is the first thing I should do? Do you think the police should be able to barge into my house and arrest me? And if they do, what are some of the parameters I should be looking out for?
Now, the police have got a right to go anywhere in this country. But the same laws that gives power to the police also place restraints and limitations on what they can do and they cannot do. First and foremost, a policeman is empowered by law, either upon seeing a person in the act of committing an offense or on suspicion of committing an offense to effect an arrest of the person. Nothing stops the policeman. A policeman can barge in here live, even as we're doing this program, and look in my face and tell me that we need you for this and for that. But the law says that the first thing that a policeman requires to do upon or with intent to arrest anybody is to tell the person in a language the person understands.
So, na police ni ramifia. The first thing the police need just catch you.
That is so. He must tell you in a language you understand the reason for wanting to arrest you. That's the first thing. He also it's a constitutional duty that is imposed on the police. There have been case law where the police arrested somebody without the person knowing why he was being arrested. There was a fisticuffs and the police had a better, the worst part of the fisticuffs. The matter ended up in court. Of course, the gentleman could not be, be criminalized for what he did, because the law required the policeman to have told him the reason for him being arrested. And if he didn't do so, he had a reasonable, option of resisting the arrest in whatever way he deemed important. After you have told the person, then obviously you are entitled to take the person with you. Why I've informed him. And I will put it this way. As a citizen, you have no right. In Ghana, everybody starts with, but I've not committed an offense. Nobody cares. Upon suspicion, he can arrest you. Then when he takes you to the police station...
But let me ask this question before taking me to the police station.
Right.
So, can I tell the police they should go or come?
In civilized countries, that is the norm.
Senior,
and I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. Sometimes they exercise that kind of discretion. But in a country like Ghana, sometimes I like to understand the place. People don't have... In Ghana here, people are at large. Even for people who have identified, it's not that we're trying to identify our houses. Elsewhere, possibly if this national ID card goes further, that's one of the things that is going to be able to do, to be able to identify people wherever they find themselves by a system of things that are built into the card to be able to tell where you can be located and so forth and so on. I can say it, and I don't say it in defense of what the police do. To answer your question, the answer is yes. You can tell the police to take the lead and he will follow. And sometimes they do that. But on the average, in this country, I mean, 90% of the people don't have identifiable addresses and so forth and so on. And to be, with due respect, a policeman who doesn't live in Ghana, who can leave people and expect that they will come. So the answer is yes, but it is discretionary. The police need not take your word for it. His business is to let you. He need not even put you in handcuffs and whatever.
Exactly, that was my next question.
It's the situation that will determine what he must do. And the law gives him the benefit of the doubt for him to assess the situation and determine whether he could convey you to the police station. And I know that there are times that people are given that privilege to walk freely with them or be put in a car. So the show you put up may determine how the police will handle you. But
ordinarily, if I'm not fighting, if I'm not trying to resist arrest,
yes,
ordinarily I shouldn't be put in handcuffs.
No.
Okay. So there are lots of laws, okay, but for now I want us to discuss that of liberty. And it's very, very critical. And then we'll go to maybe 2 others before we are done. So I've been asked to come to the police station. I follow the policeman. Now we are at the police station. Lois, we are at the police station. They put me at counterback. They tell me to put all my gadgets, everything down. I do. Then what?
So when you get to the police station, once you've been told of your offense, you should be given the information that you have the right to contact your lawyers and speak to them so that they can be able to provide you with any legal support you need at that time. So that opportunity is there for you to access whilst you are waiting for the police to go on with whatever investigation they are about to undertake. Also, the police is supposed to only have the right to detain you 48 hours from the time that you got to the police station. So after 48 hours, the 48 hours is the timeline that the police have to undertake whatever investigation, write their report, and then offer you whatever is the next steps. Either they are granting you bail to go home or they are going to process you to court. After 48 hours, then your liberty begins once again.
Okay, so the 48 hours, all things being equal, they are supposed to put me before a court of competent jurisdiction.
Yeah.
Okay, so if they don't, within the 48 hours, I'm supposed to be released.
Yeah.
Senior, practically. No, I don't want us to do theory.
You said supposed. You said supposed. You see, the law gives the police 48 hours within which they may. It doesn't mean that in all cases they need to detain. But in Ghana, we know that detention is used more of punishment and stuff like that. But let's go straight to the point. It's a discretion the law has given to them. But if they are not going to release you within the 48 hours, then they must bring you before a court of law for the court to determine the condition for either your continuing detention or your being granted bail. And our court will readily grant bail, only they've got special reason why they must not grant you bail.
So all offenses are bailable?
Today, every offense in Ghana, from coup makers to murderers to rapists to piracy.
So the thinking that when I commit a particular crime, I may not be, I'll not be granted bail because of the offense. It's not
no, it's discretionary. Both the judge has to use a lot of discretion, has to go in, and depends on what information the police will give him as to what stage of investigation they've carried. There are certain situations where to release somebody may be risky even to the investigation, where to release somebody. So it's all an issue of discretion, and the discretion in this case ought to be exercised by a judge. And we believe that judges exercise their discretion as fairly as they can, having regard to the peculiar circumstance of each case that comes before them. And of course, because of the security that is always given for the grant of bail, there's not too much risk.
Inti miwofie.
Yes.
Yabecheme. Yes, member police station. Police ni betimi aka say, oh the bra later. Betimi aka say, oh, police be say me ba later. Betimi aka say, oh, the bra later. Person obeka say yenko. Se menene nko ho na meneno stringy words na enye bibia. Police na catch me offense am commit no. Me di police na echi ya police station. Within 48 hours, just say, or any obetimi police ni betimi amma me adapt cells for 48 hours. So 48 hours no do just saw the make court.
Naturally.
One former court all things being equal just so release me.
Yeah.
All things being equal. Inti see the question they say 48 hours na me per se police no or granting me bail. I need bail within 48 hours. And the police says, okay, I will grant you bail. However, come and pay 5,000 Ghana cedis.
No, those issues are not right. We know they do it, but the law does not permit it.
So all this is called
bail
is free.
It is by law. But tell that to the policeman.
Bail is free.
Yeah, police bail is free.
Okay,
so every bail is free.
Every bail is free. Okay, so now let's see. You go to the police station. The first thing you are asked to do is to write your statement.
Yeah.
All things being equal, they tell you the offense, everything. You're supposed to write your statement. And when you're writing your statement, then they'll bring an independent, especially if you don't understand the English language, they will get an interpreter for you, do the interpreter, everything, and then they bring the person in. What happens there?
No, you see, in the first place, this business writing statement is not even compulsory. Indeed, and in fact, the sheet that they gave to you, they preface it with something that are written, that you need not say anything.
Thank you.
But anything that you say may be taken in evidence against you. So that is the first stop where you can exercise the right not to give a statement. But somehow in this country called Ghana, the police are almost always offended when you take the position, will not give a statement. And so it becomes a quid pro quo. If you won't give a statement, we also not give you bail. I mean, how they do it and why they do it, I don't want to go into the psychology of the Ghana Police Service and the attitudes that, indeed, even this right to bring your lawyer to the police station. As soon as the lawyer, okay, so you have brought your lawyer, we shall see. It's a kind of psychology. I don't know how they developed it, but I'm not going to go into all of those kind of things. It's enough for us to let people know that these are rights that they have. Yes. When we have made those determinations, then as a country, we will all have to deal with why we have these laws, and for some reason these laws are not working. For some reasons we've got this police psychology. Even today we are grateful to God that now, first time they will beat people in order to take statement out of them, and so forth and so on. And I can tell that where these days the incidence of these things have come down considerably. And I believe it's got a lot to do with education and so forth and so on. So I'm believing that possibly a time will come that a policeman will also take it very cool when you say you don't want to give a statement. I always advise my clients that you are not obliged to give a statement. And therefore, if you wish to cooperate, or even if you have to give a statement, make the shortest possible statement. Some of them, they end up writing long essays at the police station, writing all kinds of things. Sometimes they end up implicating themselves so badly and so forth and so on.
And then when the lawyer gets in, you read the statement and you go like, so where's the defense? Why do I come in?
Yeah.
Okay, so in Tiatia says, Udu police station, a more actual statement. Statements, they're by force. And by force of a true statement. In a bill, so no bill, patcho bill, you free. Oh, near the castle, wahano, imrano. So we'll call na police say chia, now we'll be chia, and it's up to you. We can't do anything about it. What we are talking about here is what should be. And if it is not being done, what you can do as a person to ensure that it's done. If for one reason or the other you are not interested in ensuring it's done, because the police will tell you the police will waste my time, then that's up to you. But please know what your rights are, know what the law says, and then it will help all of us. So you've been taken to court. you can't speak the English language. Senior, can you take us through the court system?
No,
before bail.
No, once you come to the court, typically you will put before the court. And when you put before the court, there's something, the first step in the actual prosecution of any matter that comes before the court is what we call taking your plea. The court will have to find out whether you want to plead guilty or you want to plead not guilty. When you say you plead guilty, you finish the work for everybody. Because once you say you plead guilty, that is the end of it. And once the judge enters it and sometimes explain to you whether you really mean you are guilty, that's the end of the matter. The rest is for the judge to convict and to sentence.
But because sometimes the police will tell the people, the person that, oh, you're guilty. When you tell the court you are guilty, they will be lenient on you, they'll let you go. And they erroneously tell the court I'm guilty.
They do it all the time.
Yeah. And then they are sentenced and now they don't understand what's going on.
They do it all the time. Yeah, but those are the problems. They do it all the time. They tell them that when you go this judge and this, they tell them funny stories. So these people, they come and they also tell the court. They just want to be able to finish their work, and then that's the end of it. But of course, if you say you are not guilty, typically, the next thing that the judge wants to do is to determine the conditions for your bail, and will normally adjourn proceedings on the first day, because these days there's a requirement by the court system for accused persons to be furnished with a whole bundle of everything that the prosecution intends to rely upon for a trial and so forth and so on. So when the issue of your bail has been determined, the next thing that the court will do is to charge the prosecution to ensure that they've got the bundle of evidence and plea statements and all of those things before the next adjourned date. There is even now what we call case management conference that also would have to be conducted before the actual trial would commence. But these are about 2 or 3 main steps once you are brought before the court. But like we've said, if you plead guilty, you finish the work. And the judge will sentence you, and when he does the sentence, he does the end of it. It's very hard for you to lodge an appeal against that judgment on the basis of the conviction. If the sentence is too harsh, maybe you can try a lock up there by appealing against the sentence, but not against the conviction. Because when a person comes to court and tells the court that he's guilty, nobody put the word in your mouth. But there have been situations where issues have arisen, especially when they say they are guilty and qualify that plea with words that suggest that they are not too sure whether they are guilty or not guilty. As for that, a judge has a duty to ensure, for the avoidance of that, even to enter a plea of not guilty. But if the accused person qualifies his statement or his plea, and the judge nonetheless takes only one part of it and convicts him, if it goes on appeal, chances are that may be set aside.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We have a lot to discuss. So let's go for this short break and we'll be right back.
Nia onyankopon hwehwa ne se onipa bia bedi yie e wasase so. Eno ti adwuma bia wo ye no, wo hia ho nimdie ene nkyerɛkyerɛ papa. Mpanifo se sanwa beba kontomre enkwan ani a na ejinemu nam so. Eno nti na Hope Channel edi dwumadi a ye friend se Business Forum abrewo. Ya wada nwumre no nwotwe bia me kyerɛ 8 pm. Hia me na nakwa mesika. Me ne mpanimfo a wa ben no wadɔ sukɔ e wo sikasɛmu. Adwadie mu ene enwuma mu be sinkonya ni amawo nkyerɛkyerɛ papa a ɛbɛboawo na nso watimi atumpɔn piao.
Okronkroni no wama ya kwanya no wama ye ho ahode no wato nsa fra ni aba ne nase.
And I want to welcome you to Let's Pray. And over here, we are saying that you don't have to pray alone. We are together with you.
People are going through difficulties. But sometimes when you come to God's word, it's like you are recharged.
Then Kenya say, you be praise me here and I say that I
Everybody shout P. Oh man, I would to the name Bia Emremunsen and when
Let's pray, showing this on every Friday at 6:30 p.m. live only on Hope Channel Ghana.
Discussed our liberty, how it's sometimes infringed upon. Lois, give me some practical examples. You are on the field. What are some of the practical ways that the rights of people are infringed upon? And then we'll look at another area.
Okay, so before I go to the practical ways,
yes,
I want to let our audience know that if a police arrests you, like all the discussions we have done, I want to say you are not guilty until a court of competent law pronounces you guilty. So all that
you are innocent until proven guilty.
Yes.
So when you catch that thief on the roadside and you start beating the person, remember that person is innocent.
Yes.
That person that was stealing my thing, I saw him with that thing in his hand, is innocent.
Yes, because it may not even be for you. It may be for him, you know. So until enough investigations have been conducted and the court have declared that he is guilty, you, the one who caught him in the act, you can't declare him to be guilty. He's innocent. So that's why we always encourage people to ensure that they refer those people to the appropriate state agency so they can continue with their work and then finally declare the person guilty, and then offenses, punishment will be issued, and then the law will take its course. We have seen in this country where innocent people were thought to be guilty, and they had been, we have, what's the name? Justice had been meted out to them. Instant justice had been meted out to them, and later on found out that the wrong person, we rather got in touch with the wrong person or misrepresentation and all that. So I want to encourage everyone that until the court of competent jurisdiction have declared someone guilty, you have no right to take the law into your hands and then meter out instant justice against anyone. Some of the ways by which people's rights have been violated like what we said, even an ordinary person trying to take the law is because you feel that it may take a long time for justice to prevail.
And the police will take money.
Oh yes.
They'll take it back and release the person back into society.
Yes, yes. So you meet people and say, oh, the police will not do anything. So let me take the law into my hands. And indirectly,
do that.
Yes. We have recently, there was a lady that trended on social media where a driver, I think, engaged the lady and then decided to beat her. And then, I remember one of the radio stations calling me that, whoa, that lady is an FSW. So she's guilty already. Looking
FSW,
at
like, explain.
A female sex worker. And trying to say they've already pronounced her to be guilty.
She's a prostitute, and because a man beat her, then
the lady, she deserved it. And I said that female sex work is a misdemeanor, and then assault is more of a higher crime. So even putting the two together, you don't even know the dimension of the law. Why don't we refer it to the police for them to make, we are already passing judgment when we don't have that capacity to do that. So these are the rights that we infringe upon ordinary people, because we think that, wow, we know that this person is committing a crime, but you don't know that what you are, your actions are also even more grievous crimes in our society. So these are some of the things that we do, that we use that to infringe upon people's rights when we are taking the law into our hands and then try to mete out instant justice or declare people guilty when it is not in our capacity to do that. And then another is, the police trying to take advantage of people on the audience because they don't know about the processes, when they don't know about the legal procedures. So they meet you, they arrest you, they won't tell you about your offense, and then they try to take money from you, extort money from you, or even try to even abuse you in return, that is beating you or trying to, I mean, have sexual intercourse with you.
If you've come across situations where the police have had sexual intercourse?
Yes, just to get people to, I mean, as a way of like they are demanding for money. The person doesn't, especially when it gets to yes, in kind. So especially when it is the opposite sex, then okay, if you can be able to offer me, yes, I would let you go. I mean, these are all infringements on people's rights.
What do you do?
You know, many people don't know that the police don't have the, because they feel that they have committed an offense already. They think that they have no rights. The problem in the society is that people feel they have committed some form of offense. So, but these are maybe minor offenses. So, and because they don't also know the procedure in accessing justice or in the, whatever we have discussed, they are not able to even know that what the police did is not right. They are even committing a more grievous offense than they. So, and they also don't know where to report. So, therefore, where to even report the police.
Okay. So, we now know the process. When you are arrested, you go to the police station.
Yeah.
They give your statement. And they do their investigation. Within 48 hours, they can grant you bail, and the bail is free. So, after the 48 hours, they have to release you, or they take you to a court of competent jurisdiction for the court to take over from there. So now we know a little bit of the process. Now let's come practically to road traffic offenses. Senior, you'll be driving, your own driving, and then the police will stop you. You've committed an offense. He'll not tell you the offense. Then he'll sit in the front seat of your car and they ask you for your driver's license. I have seized it. Come to airport police station. No, it's just an example, please. For senior, take us through it.
Oh man, see, the issue with the police is something that I really do not know how to describe it. In the first place, every time that I've encountered police, some of these things, I keep telling them that, you know, the psychology of the police, I will keep using that expression because they've acquired a certain way of doing things that is so predictable. A policeman believes that for any offense somebody commits must end up in court. I tell them that that's not true. A policeman has got a lot of discretion to exercise in determining whether I must process a matter to court or whatever. But in Ghana, you can tell from the very start that when a policeman started, that it's all for the purpose of inducing the so-called offender to part with money. Hardly will a policeman say, Master, you haven't done this right. Next time, try and avoid it. It's a form of, it's a duty the police performs. But that is out of the question. Then, of course, the next thing is bring your license. And when they take the license, the whole, I'm very sorry I have to put it this way, for what he claims to be an offense, maybe jump traffic, whatever, then he takes the license. The whole idea is to delay you for the next how many hours. Go and park the car wherever. As a matter of law, this business of police license, police request for license, indeed, if a lot of Ghanaians look into their own licenses, it's clearly embossed in it that upon the policeman, and indeed it's not even every policeman, it's not a policeman of the rank of chief inspector or so and above who can demand for your license. And when you demand the license, the law is not that you must have it with you. The law is that if you don't have it, you've got 24 hours within which you must report or to the nearest police station. That's what it is actually in the passport itself. But because all of these things have become like drama, you know, all these processes people go through, and it's like typical drama. We know that we are just making up for something. So then you also don't want to go through all of those things. Then you must part with money. My view of this matter is that nobody is obliged to give his license to the police upon the stage that he has been seen. Typically, there's clear situations where licenses ought to be demanded and be taken out, where there have been accidents and so forth and so on, but not the kind of minor traffic, these things that the police always find in Ghana, that somebody has jumped the red or somebody has whatever. But this whole topic of police and road traffic, and I can tell from my own experience that 7 out of 10, the police themselves do not know the road traffic regulations. 7 out of, it's my own experience. They do not know. Some of them, when they see 3 lanes, then instead of directing the traffic from the point where possibly everybody can get in, they will wait for you. And in Ghana, our driving is very predictable. Nobody in the main, even in the main road, nobody gives you access. And if you have to branch onto a district, they won't give you access. So you have to force to get in there. And at that point, the police has arrested you. Then he's forced you to go straight. You don't even understand all of these things. But for purposes of this particular show, it's enough for people to know that this business of bring your license, the law is that you must produce it within 24 hours at the nearest police station that the policeman can show you. And if you take it there, I do not know what else he wants to do. For Christ's sake, if the policeman wishes to prosecute you, it is for him to come and prove the case. And it's as simple as that.
Because you're innocent and to proving guilty. So he who alleges must prove.
But the problem that we have also in this country, you know, we have a certain trait that is so present everywhere. The problem that we also have is that every Ghanaian loves his time, he loves his comfort, he loves his convenience. He loves everything so much, so well that he believes that even this whole idea of coming to court at all is what do you call it? It's not for consideration. And it is for those reasons that we have all become victims of a vicious cycle of the perpetration and perpetuation of this whole business of all of us. I mean,
so let's participate.
You know, I can't understand it. I can't understand the logic. We are caught, and that's the way it is. But I'm telling you, listen to me. I've lived in Nigeria before. I was in Nigeria 2 years. Nigerians are totally different from the way we behave in this country. In Ghana, the man does not even want to go to say because he believes that. Me, I've been locked before. I tell my clients all the time. If a policeman invites you to a place, say, what's the big deal? You have to go. He's got 48 hours. Over the 48, if he wants to lock you, let him do it. But don't forget that there is such a civil thing as malicious prosecution, false imprisonment. I can tell you that many times that I myself have caught clients who go on the wrong side of the police and they were messed up. Let me use that word. When you even bring a court action, as soon as they're not interested. And I'm just giving you an idea of why we'll continue to live with some of the problems that we live with, because the people love their own convenience and stuff like that, and they will not prosecute even the policeman. Because at the end of the day, if you got a policeman who locks you up wrongfully, he had no proper basis. Sometimes he just want to show authority. He wants to show this thing. You take your time. If he goes to chronicle all of that, then you sue him for malicious prosecution. Because if he locks you up 48 hours, even though he's got the law right on his side, he jumps into the 49th hour, you can sue for false imprisonment. False imprisonment is the tortious liability of finding yourself in the wrong place when the person
should get their lawyers. They should get their lawyers.
The right to put you there. But people are not doing all of this. So we are. That is so. We have all become silent victims of our own.
It is the bureaucracy that goes with, pursuing access to justice, redress.
You go at time, the police will say, come to court, and of the next 6 months, you are coming to court.
That's why you must sue him. When you sue, then damages, you can seek damages. I ever sued a policeman like that. I haven't seen a policeman like that, because when they're doing it, they think it's a game. You know what I'm saying? They think it's a game. But I'm telling you that if we got 10 people in this country who sue the police every year, you know, somehow a message will be sent. Then somehow something will be established, a certain decorum will be established. And then everybody will know, like in Ghana we say, Obiandini Lane. You know what I'm saying? We will respect them. They also respect us. But somehow, I think they have a free day because people don't have time, people, whatever. So let it go. Let us sing.
Inti ya can say edu baby a onam wo drive it na police ni stop you say foul or driver's license but we seize it by police station be pa sure can so nya inspector na ba want me nje license say on bra police station on means now car front so na edu baby so ye can say ye person waste your time
person once arrested me. And he said, I should drive the car. I said, really? My own car?
Yes. They said, I
should drive with you.
He sat in front and I'm like, sir, please get down or else this is trespassing. Why not? I say, no. You see, the minute you think that you don't want to show off, But if you let the person know you know the law, they try to be exactly. They try to deal with you in a. So we've discussed a lot, right? We've given some practical situations. As the weeks go by, we'll take every law with its infringement and discuss it. That's when we are talking about the general one. Now let's talk about redress. The police have infringed upon your right. Someone has beaten you up. Someone has stolen something. Your human rights have been infringed upon. Where are some of the institutions that you can report to? Lois.
Okay, so before I begin, I want to tell our audience that once you feel the police have not handled you, he said you are entitled to compensation. The law, Article 19 of the Constitution, makes that provision. So don't think that a police can handle you and then go scot-free. Once you are very sure that your rights have been taken off, you have been denied of an opportunity, you can take on the police and then you can request for compensation.
And the police, they have the PIPs, right?
Yeah, so I was coming to okay. So I want to say, when the police institution, you know, when it gets to police, everybody becomes like, beyond the police, where can you go? The police have a directorate or a department called PIPs, where they are
PIPS.
Yeah, PIPS. Yeah,
we will get it.
Yeah, but PIPs, you know, in Accra, they are asylum down area there.
Yeah.
Yes, and every region they have an office. That's where we report any police for misconduct. But make sure that when you are reporting the police, it should be in line with his duties. Okay, some people come and report other things that has nothing to do with the professional work of the police. So please, it should be purely a professional act that the police have violated your rights. Then you can report him to PIPS, and PIPS will look into the issues and then take him on. I would say that PIPS is a very serious.
It's very effective.
It's very effective. People, Ghana, people, they will exchange hands. I want to say PIPS is very serious. So let's test the law. Let's report any police for any unprofessionalism, and let's ensure that our rights are protected and preserved. Beyond PIPS and beyond the police is not the only agency that we can report infringement of our human rights. We all know the government institution, that's the SHRAJ, Commission on the Administration of Human Rights, Commission on Human Rights and Administrative Justice. They are the state institution that have been mandated to address issues on human rights. Okay, so if you have you know that your human rights have been infringed upon, SHRAJ offices are all over in Accra. They are at the High Court area there. When you go and report any infringement,
I think they share a boundary with Supreme Court.
Yes.
The old Parliament House.
Sorry, I said High Court. The Supreme Court,
the
old Parliament House. They also handle issues on human rights very professionally,
and
then it's free and it's fast. Okay,
it's free.
Yes. So SHRAJ, many people don't know. Others call it human rights. I mean, I'm going to report it to human rights, but they are also a state agency where, when you know that your human rights have been infringed upon, you can report. They are very professional. They are fast, and it is free. Beyond you know, it's all the human rights. It's not only about, we have the DOFSU office of the police that addresses issues on abuse. I mean, when somebody around you abuses you, I mean, causes you physical pain or emotional pain or psychological pain, DOFSU office is also another Ghana police.
So when you go to the police station, they have a DOFSU office.
The DOFSU office where you can report issues. So
your husband is beating you, your wife is beating you.
Is psychologically abusing, emotionally abusing, not
refusing
to maintain your children. Please.
We'll discuss all that.
Yes, we'll go into, and we'll take them. Yes. The DOFSU office have been established to help resolve these family-related issues. We also have the social welfare as another state agency where we handle issues bordering around the children's rights and the maintenance of children. So when you have any issue on children's rights, you can also, seek the support of the social welfare. Then we have the courts. I mean, that is the Article 33. It says that when your human rights have been abused, you go to appeal to the High Court. Yeah. Okay, that is the highest level. But we always want you to start, taking advantage of internal procedures and then taking advantage of state institutions. And when all these fail, you go to the High Court. So that should be, I would say, the last point of call. But before then,
because in court usually you pay. All the ones we've mentioned is for free.
Yeah.
But courts, there's money involved. So use that. And then senior, we have legal aid.
We do.
Yes. Talk about legal aid.
The only thing about legal is that they are very understaffed. They are very, very understaffed. And granted, given the kind of complaints and issues that go there, I think it makes them, if I may put it, ineffective. By reason only of the fact that I want to be beaten. By reason only of the fact that they're overwhelmed. So it's not like they are inefficient in the sense of inability to work, but they are overwhelmed with cases. And when it happens that way, it will naturally tell on their ability to prosecute so many cases in one go. That's about the only reason I may possibly not advise anybody to take a case.
But when we talk about legal aid, there are lawyers that the states have employed to work for people for free, especially if they are right or they have real grounds.
But
so it's not just human rights.
No.
It's generally.
It's a category.
So if you have a
criminal
case,
issues and
but it's a marketplace, you know, because like go to Makola, you know, and then how many people are serving how many people, and it's an embarrassment if I'm
oh my God.
that's what would happen you.
No, that's a fact. I'm really wishing that somebody hearing and seeing how to, what do you call it, help to develop the capacity. You know what I'm saying? What's the point about? Like a law office, how many lawyers? If we're getting 100 clients a day, how are we going to even, deal with them? It's going to be impossible. But if it's a government office, people think 100 people can come in and somehow the 100 people get attention, which is untrue. That's all that I'm trying to say. I've got nothing to do with their competence.
Because they are lawyers. They are trained lawyers.
I'm not making anything about their competence. The workload.
They are overwhelmed.
The
but they're also one of the state agencies that have been really established for, you have to really prove that you have not a case. You don't have the money to pursue a legal issue. So if you are well employed and you go to legal aid, I'm sorry, they will turn you down.
If you have money.
I think the last time it was 300 Ghana. You have to prove that your salary is below 300 Ghana for them to really be serious to take up your case. I don't know whether it's been reviewed to 500 or so. So I want to encourage people that, please, if you are gainfully employed, don't turn to legal aid. It's for those who can't afford legal services at all.
Intime pasho ye kan ne wrap up no say obi tia wo found dey so a police service no mo institution bi efe ne PEPs versus a PEPs in pasho PIPS ko police on mo betcho PEPs o report police no me take police ne on o betime dey across Shraj human rights been infringed upon Shraj e be take up amount Shraj were all the regions in respective of baby a wo bia no betime across Shraj na Shraj e free yewo dofsu so kunu bow and now yere bow and I sent you on shenkola no ne sanyama ni na dofsu no ko police station bia omo office she inside on rahonum naka so person ne dofsu penny kasa obeboa ne yesan wo social welfare in kola nsem bia everything anything in kola sem no okohonoma omobeboa answer yewo legal aid of course legal aid omo lawyers ni etu abani etu omo into legal way bia uniska na wo case a ometimi atiki apamao and the last one here courts the most often no ska kakra wo said lawyer cra so be yam free cra ne transport na obe file way obe file ni nya ska nketen but all these agencies all this way no free a utimi kokko say o right I infringed upon ultimate ekohonom na ultimate enya redress and they are fast and they are effective. They are very, very effective. Tibacho mema lawyers are my final words under a minute na senior some lawyer pencil some final words under a minute.
Okay, me the basis soon say I na human rights na say I bro food in your maybe no mo aba. You know, me can say, and son I cry by drinks out brofo drink, or na yankasa na yen who say, ye nipa say to me tenase, my mo been to me for being qua. I mean, on your share, and I say, what I'm running, I shall say, now I nipa bonnie, and I nim say, ye per se, na yet snack. in peace and harmony. Inti no na yemfa mra ne enhye yensem. Inti na sa human rights. Make say yankasa na ye dream human rights. Ni ahye nyome bia e de hwe said be yan ba. Inti ye ka human rights no. I na say abrofo nyome bi ma menka say nya abrofo asem bia. Yankasa ye te wo fie kra wa ahye mra e bo say nipa enya ne ho I mean de ne ho don't to be in nyoma in kakra I mean uncle nombra asumdwemu it's human rights no ye nyina ye dwen ho enya abrofosem asembia.
Yeah, I'll just add that the price of liberty is eternal vigilance, meaning that people must sit up and safeguard and watch and protect, because in this world, I mean, Chinua Achebe said, when a coward sees someone he can beat, he becomes hungry for a fight. So if you don't protect your right, nobody will protect it for you. Because the whole world system is such that it's that of domination. Everybody wants to dominate somebody at one point or the other. So if you don't really sit tight and watch your rights, people violate them, infringe upon them, and call you names. So the price of liberty is eternal vigilance.
I say a champion ni masam ko ka say nana wasumwa. So and you're discussing a lot, but in general, we've discussed a lot of general issues. The subsequent weeks we'll be taking them one and go delve into it. So we talk about DOFSU and its work, we'll talk about all the institutions and their work, and then all the rights, every right we'll also be discussing it. So all I would say is that I'm hoping that you've learned something. What's your maybe? Once you actually crime him say bail is free. Bail is for free. Once you actually crime say bail is for free. In our police near obeti or driver's license say inspector about when you're inspecting about want to make us with CZU license. Let's read, let's update ourselves, and please, same time next week, 6:30 p.m. on Thursday. This is the Law Chamber, TLC. Until then, have a good night and please stay safe.